here's the email that I received from Nancy that she wanted to make sure I read to the volunteer genealogist. Dear Mrs. Faulkner, we call her Nancy, she calls me Mrs. Faulkner. You and the Volunteer Genealogists Committee were so very kind to introduce me to two new ancestors, Matthew Moore Sr. and Matthew Moore Jr. They are of my paternal line, and I had not been aware of them prior to the volunteer genies working to assist me. I do
Wow.
find it very interesting that it was discovered that Matthew Moore Jr. was a drummer. That is a first for me. Thank you so much! Exclamation mark. At this time, the supplemental applications, proofs, and checks have been sent to NSDAR for processing. You and your team are to be commended for the tenacity and dedication with which you work. I truly appreciate the assistance, and I continue to feel great pride in my ancestors, DAR, and our great nation. In service to God, home, and country, Nancy.
Oh, that's
I thought that
wonderful.
was sweet because she was so overwhelmed with appreciation. She's like, well, can I meet with you guys and take you to lunch? And I'm like, that's a little more complicated. I wanted to
Oh,
do something, and I told her this would be something
mhm.
that she could do. So that's where we're at with that.
Okay.
All right, now I'm going to bring this up on the screen here. I've been,
Susan, I have a question,
yeah,
just sort of random. But so
you, Amanda,
did she have to send two checks for $75 if you got two people out of, you're kidding.
no, she'd have to pay that much
Yeah.
for both of them, but just one check. So
Oh,
it would be the
oh,
hundred, sorry, but it would be the $150.
oh. Okay. All right.
That, yeah.
Just wondered.
Okay, so I think I'm going to do it this way. Bear with me. What I want to do is what I've done today is kind of brainstormed on who are we? Who are we as the volunteer genealogists? I look back over my text messages, you guys, and I was like, I've been doing this for a year now. We've been doing this for a year now. Where are we going? What are we doing? And I actually found out by looking back, um, Alice Caskey asked me to be the Volunteer Genealogist Committee chair in February. Now, that was pending her being voted in. She was trying to build her committee chairs and all that. So I'm like, I really love our meetings. Oh, wait a minute. Somebody else is wanting in. I really love our meetings a lot, but I'm ready to take it to the next level. And so that's what we're looking at here. And I'm going to share this with you. This is the website, the Volunteer Genealogists Committee part of the NSDAR website, which should be telling us who we are and what we do. So let's look at it just a little bit here. Now, some of this I reworded on my own little worksheet because it's so President General right, and I just wanted the words, but through the mission and work of the Volunteer Genealogist Committee, members and chapters celebrate Stars and Stripes Forever by supporting the staff. Okay, so that's one of the things we do is we support the staff of the Office of the Registrar General in their role to verify applications and supplemental applications. This committee accomplishes its mission by, one, providing training for members and chapters on current standards of verifying applications and supplemental applications. Two, providing chapter registrars with assistance, support, and training. Three, providing direct assistance to chapters in need. Four, providing virtual consultation and training to members on the completion of supplemental applications. And four, assisting with addressing AIR letters on supplemental applications that cannot be resolved at the state level. So that means for their level, but that would mean that what we do is we help with addressing AIR letters on supplemental applications. So we talked about it a while ago. What's the difference between the Lineage Research Committee and the Volunteer Genealogist Committee? And hi, Jennifer, I see that you're here now. So the big deal is, you guys see that it's more based on what our standards, the DAR standards are, and the training, the help. It's not necessarily based on the deep research. Now, the Lineage Research Committee works very closely with the Volunteer Genealogists Committee, but we are the feet on the ground running towards the registrars and the members. Lineage Research Committee is the feet on the ground running to the repositories. Does that help us understand the difference?
Mm.
Does it give us a little focus on, where we're supposed to be? My screen's anyway. So with that in mind, I came up with how we're doing this mission. We're encouraging GEP training. We're having Zoom meetings twice a month, and we've got the YouTube channel, which I need to update, by the way. We assist chapter registers by giving, and I don't think this is well known. I'm sharing this with you guys so that you can get the word out also, but there's more, so hang in there. Assist chapter registers by having assignments of DAR trained volunteer genealogists, and that's us here, to work as an assistant to the chapter registrar. I send out periodic emails to chapter registrars when there's something hot that I think that they need to know. And we maintain a list of VG, volunteer genealogist volunteers who agree to act as reviewers, because of course, that's a big deal right now, is trying to get enough people to put their hands up to be a reviewer, since we need 2 for everybody that's doing an application. We also actively participate in events that are hosted by chapters to encourage interest in DAR in their community. There's some fledgling or even struggling small chapters out there, and they would love to have people there to help encourage the community to embrace the DAR. And the best way to do it is be able to march in with laptops and help people try to figure out who a possible patriot is and start them along their way, their own journey of becoming a DAR member. We also have assignments of DAR trained volunteer genealogists to step in when chapter registrars are out of pocket, like with health issues or family matters. We provide virtual consultations when requested. Again, if your people don't know this, or if you don't know this, Darlene and I have met online. We've had a visual meeting, and I've also met with Ramona, Darlene, and that's one that Darlene and I are working on together for a supplemental AIR that Ramona Woodrum has. So this is stuff that is happening. Also, we should be maintaining a list extracted from e-membership with emails that are sent out to members who have supplemental AIRs. And I did that this morning, and I've got some good results, or some interesting results, to share with you. So, ta-da! Here's where we're going. I'm looking for people to fill in on various places with training. Training is always important, whether it's in this Zoom room or whether you go out. I would like to help you if you decide to go to a chapter or to a district to train on anything that has to do with the current standards of what the DAR is looking for in applications. And Darlene's had me up there in District 1. Libby, I've been out there in your district.
Yeah, 6.
Yeah. So, and of course, Clay knows that I've done several here for the Aiken area, where Trenton and Esther Marianne and Henry Middleton chapter are at. Okay, assisting chapter registrars. We currently have 1, and I wish one of those girls were here, but this is that weird time of year. We have 1 DAR trained assigned volunteer genealogist in action right now, helping an overwhelmed registrar. Now, this registrar is good. She's very knowledgeable, a very good leader, but she's got 20 applications on her desk at any one time. Just about the time. Yeah, and Darlene, she's not doing that. Her chapter's growing, and so people are bringing her leads, and it's just the way chapters grow and shrink, excitement, and, kind of losing the interest and age, you know what I mean? It's like all kinds of things keep chapters at various levels of growth. And this one particular registrar is in a huge amount of growth. And when I first reached out to all the registrars probably 6 months ago and said, "We're here for you," she's like, "Me," And so I found her a volunteer genealogist who happens to live in her neighborhood, but is a member of a different chapter. They're in the Charleston area, Libby, so you can see how this is.
Yeah.
What it's very important.
Yeah, and for me, Susan, because I'm the newest one to even do this, I've not taken any of the Genie 1 and 2, but
What?
I want to learn, but just watching what you guys have gone through, it picks it up. And then to see the frustration, because some of us have slam dunk, as I call them, slam dunk patriots, when there's so much documentation out there about them and it's not so hard. And other people, it's digging and digging and digging.
Absolutely.
And other individuals where they're between that technology
Yeah.
issue, and they're just scared to punch the next button or this button, and I'm like, just close it and go out. That's
I
the worst
love
thing that can happen. You don't lose anything.
my
So,
mother lives with us and I want to take her cell phone away. She just,
but no, but really, that's the people that I have been visiting that are having, like, kind of don't know where to start and don't do this, are the ones that are extremely technology lacking.
yeah.
So it's like you're, you know, you're having to, like, you're basically doing it all,
Yeah.
for them to be if there are a possibility of becoming a member. Some of the stuff out there looks pretty decent, but you're really doing it all because they're, checklist or not, they just get angst and then they shut down and then they,
Right.
that's what I've seen on a
Yeah.
few of the members that are, a little bit
So
younger than I am. Or
That's what I've
close to
seen in our chapter with everybody.
Really? Okay, well, good. I'm not.
no, I don't think that you're saying anything that we haven't kind of seen ourselves at
Yeah.
different levels. Yeah. And so we all know that our chapters can do more if we have more members because you bring in additional interest, you bring in additional spunk, thoughts, ideas. Not that I don't think every chapter needs to be 300 strong by any means at all.
No.
But those chapters that are under 13 strong get
Okay.
like two or three people that are doing the whole
They
thing.
do all the work.
And so there's got to be a balance. Now, I am speaking for myself, but I would love to know if you guys agree with me. Give me dead people. I'm happy. You know,
Mhm.
I love dead people.
yeah. So, I mean, that's why I'm speaking with us here. Is it's like if I can help somebody get a DAR application going, because this is where I get excited, then, I'm doing a service for my state, for my country, for my chapter, and we need more people like us to step up because I believe that there are a lot. And the thing is, Libby, is that we've got several lots of genealogists that know the history of this state like the back of their hands, or even
Mhm.
better. But the technology is challenging them.
Yeah. That's what I could honestly say. Some of the ones that I've recently been to see, that is really challenging for them. And the only thing that I think, and I've really tried to push this, that we have members that maybe due to working conditions or children or their husband situation of, how it travels or when you meet. I wish we could have a way, Susan, to incorporate part of this in each of the chapters. And, maybe that could be their claim to fame of helping us with this guiding. It might take them 10 minutes to do something that is taking this other member who struggles an hour and a half.
Or a day and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even me, if I'm, a little, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I
But
do.
that's what, several, because I said to them, and I constantly, because I taught before I retired, and it was like when you have a 20-year-old and a 50-year-old in orientation or a 60-year-old, you have a big gap.
Well, now here's the other side of it too, Libby. We will always be about our ages that we are here, I believe. You get your juniors, and I mean, everybody wants juniors, of
Hmm.
course. And we've got large open arms for them, absolutely. But the majority of, think about our own lives at that time.
Mhm.
We were running after kids and careers and husbands and dinners and, grocery shopping and laundry, you know, and it wasn't like, even if we were passionate about it, that there was time in our life to do it. And I've talked to several ladies in my church that are about our age, and they say they really didn't have interest at all in our country or in
Okay.
history or in patriotism until after their life settled down and they were sitting there one day going, this is cool stuff. But there's, you
Yeah.
know, those are the women in my church that have not joined the DAR. That what I'm saying is they're saying, oh, now these things are more of an interest to me, even though I'm not ready to join the DAR, I can understand your interest. So
I was hoping we could figure out how to include those because I probably say our chapter has a good little bit that they might not have time to dedicate hours, but they might have an hour a week to dedicate that, to feel part of the chapter or to feel, if they can't show up to the meetings due to their, their work situation or their husband or whatever, or family. I don't know. I'm just
we've got,
throwing it out there.
and the thing is that you may not get them on a regular basis. For instance,
No.
we've got a member in the Trenton chapter. She's got a 16-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 2-year-old.
Mm.
you know, right? She is dealing with all kinds of life stages all every day, all the time. But she's the one that I call because she takes pictures of her kids and puts them on Facebook all the time. That if we have some sort of function going on where we want a lot of pictures taken, she's the one that shows up.
Well, I have one other
You know,
question too, Susan, to ask you. This is what, for me here, I live here and, live all year round. But in our chapter has, 85 to 90 members. But I would say, I hate to say this, I'm not being negative, okay, you guys. Um, 45 of them, this is not their primary residence, even though they claim it is their primary chapter.
okay, that's a perfect segue for a story I would like to share with you guys. Pamela Rouse Wright, before she was our president general, was the regent of Texas. When I joined the Columbia River chapter in Kennewick, Washington, a new member came in right about the same time I did. And within a year, I was the registrar and she was the regent, and we were close, very, very close. She moved to Texas. I moved out here to South Carolina. So I would go and visit her in Texas, and I got to, interact with her new world down there. She's not been to South Carolina, but while she was there, during that time, she told me that she had gone to a state conference and that their state regent spoke about membership. Now, her chapter was some astronomical, like 500 people strong. And she said, you always think it's the same 10%. She goes, but that's not so. She said, in my chapter, I feel like it's a win if we've got over 4% of our members attending a meeting.
Wow.
This is our president general as state regent that said this.
Wow.
And so, whenever we have an event or a function or even a meeting, and I'm kind of down in the mouth, my husband reminds me, well, is it over 4%? And I count, we're a success. So use that number, Libby. When you're looking at 45% or 45 out of your almost 90 even live there, I don't know that that's all that strange. Now, you live kind of in a vacation area, but the
Yeah.
Trenton chapter's probably got 30% of their people that have never even stepped foot in Aiken.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I didn't know. Some
Yeah.
people share the stuff and are truly honest. I ask questions. I don't mind. And, they can always say, I'm the why not person. So I just asked. I didn't know if that, but to hear that somebody has 500 members and 4% of them are only showing up, that's not even, that's
So
really,
we're doing really good if you think about that. I mean,
yeah. Yeah, we're doing better than I
now,
thought.
I
Okay.
have not done a deep dive to know if you have too big of a chapter, if it's a smaller percentage or not. I mean, I'll just take that 4% and run with it and feel good.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get back to this. I want to share some more ideas that I've got about this committee with you guys and where we're going here. Okay, so we currently have one DAR trained. Now, DAR trained means that the member has taken GEP 1, 2, and 3. Of course, if you take all of them, it's even better because you get that deeper education. But this lady actually has, but the word DAR trained means you've taken GEP 1, 2, and 3. So we have this wonderful relationship going on between these two members. It is a requirement of the DAR that if you have an assigned volunteer genealogist, that they are a member of a different chapter than the registrar that they're assigned to. Now, what goes on in this particular relationship is that, believe it or not, this lady is a both of these ladies are rock stars, I think. The assigned volunteer genealogist used to be a private investigator. She is now a high school librarian. What skill sets does this woman have? Yeah, I love that. And then her registrar that she is assigned to was a mayor of a town in a different state before she moved to South Carolina and actually served on the mayor council at national level to help other mayors of small towns. So these two are completely different rock stars, but they work so well together. And so the registrar will say, I've got this new application. Or this new prospective member, can you just dig in and see if you've got a good line for us to follow? Don't do anything more. Just let's see where we're going. And then she'll turn to the assigned volunteer genealogist and say, thank you, give me that back. Now go do a deep dive here. So, I mean, this registrar's got leadership skills that are really amazing, and she can turn them over to her assigned genealogist. We also have one pending. Now, this one pending, Clay, can I share?
Sure.
Is Clay. We've got the paperwork signed. It's been sent to national. That's where it's pending. It just got sent yesterday. Where she's at is that, remember I said there are times that a volunteer genealogist helps when the chapter registrar is out of pocket for whatever reasons that happens to be. And so we've got a chapter that's got a registrar that's gone. And so Clay is going to step in as a DAR trained assigned volunteer genealogist. I am so excited about these two situations where we're assisting chapter registrars. Again, I'm sharing this with you so that if you talk to anybody else in the DAR and they are like you're talking about, Libby, a lot of times we share our concerns and our problems. Here's some solutions that this committee is actually formed to help out with. So this assisting chapters in need. And a lot of times these two are what the DAR website actually has. I don't really see a difference between a chapter in need or assisting a chapter registrar, but we're there. We do provide virtual consultations and training, assisting with supplemental AIRs. We've got some work actually today that was brought. We've got more than just one. Right now, these two, Cindy Swartz, who I think is in the room with us. Are you still there, Cindy?
Yes.
Okay. Cindy Swartz reached out to me and she's like, Susan, I just need some help with a supplemental. So what she's telling me is, I would sure like some one-on-one training with somebody to walk through this with me, but show me what they're doing. But that's a perfect situation because Cindy's a very intelligent woman. And if somebody kind of shows her, okay, here's step one, let's look at step two, she'll be able to serve other people better. Nancy Heritage was so excited that we got those two. She's like, I got another one that might work if you guys want to work on it. And I told her, I was like, that's really not our purpose, but I'm not saying no, but I can't really pick it up right now. And then I've got the Hudson Berry chapter's got a member who has an AIR and they're getting together their documents. But since I put this together this morning, I've got two other chapter members that have got bad AIRs. And they're like, we'll take any help we can get. Okay, so then let me just talk about our committee and what the committee needs. I could use a workshop assistant. Now, this might not be a job that's assigned to one person for the whole duration, but on October 11th, I'm going to be going to District 1 again, Darlene, a workshop up there. And Darlene was a hostess, if you will, of one workshop I did in District 1. And she was my helper at that point as far as checking people in, making sure that they had handouts. It's really hard for me to do all of that by myself. And having somebody else that knows something about the committee, like Darlene was able to do, makes life so much easier. So I've got another one coming up on October 11th, pending. And it looks like October, the Captain William Hilton chapter is asked for a full day workshop. And their focus is they would like it to be a supplemental workshop, but invite the public to attend, which, we could do whatever. Um, and then the Martin Gray Gordon chapter in Kingstree. And Barbara Lewis has been on most of our calls with us, and she's the registrar of that chapter. I have met with, here, just a second. I have met briefly at the state conference with Barbara and also with her regent, Margaret Chandler. And what they're looking for is one of those events where we stir up interest in the community to join the DAR. It's an older area, and to hear those girls talk, it's kind of funny because Barbara says there is not a person living in this area that doesn't live on their Patriots property. Yeah. Barbara actually has a small family grave or cemetery right there on her property with her Patriots in it.
Oh, fascinating.
Isn't that? And she said everybody's got pretty much that's why they're there. There's not a whole lot to be there for. And the other thing that they're both concerned about is there is absolutely no SAR presence at all. So I've talked to a couple of my SAR buddies and they're ready to put on their regalia and head on out. So just got to firm this up. But these are things coming up for you girls that I could really use some help in. Also, in this committee, without leaving your desk, I could use some help. Here's the things that Susan needs. She needs somebody to take attendance because, just write down on a piece of paper who's here, because I would like to have that information, and it's hard for me to do when I'm in the middle of talking. You know, keep track of assigned volunteer genealogists, including the date that they were assigned. I'd like to get reports from both the volunteer genealogist and the registrar about every 2 months. How are things going? What's your progress? Have you filled out your log on what you've got accomplished? So even if the assistant doesn't interact with those committees, Susan's one of those, if you'll see that very last line there, keep Susan focused and in line, would be a real benefit to this committee. Also, well, I already talked on number 3 there, request periodic reports from the assigned volunteer genealogist. So that was a lot to share, wasn't it? So I'm here now going, I understand that all of us have got a lot of we're DAR, okay? DAR to me is a group of diverse women who are like-minded. And I love that about us. Okay, so you take this big pocket of DAR and then you put them down to the genies. And within that, we are also very different personalities. Some of us do not want to go out and interact. Like Darlene, I'm thinking of Sandy. It's just very hard for her to get out and interact, but she's just a brilliant researcher.
Yeah, health seems to, I guess, I don't know what the correct word at the moment is, but it sometimes hinders, that's probably it, hinders her from being able to go to even simple, chapter meetings.
Yeah.
Because she's dependent on transportation from a family member as well as her health issues. But as she says, from working from my home, I could do anything you all need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She did admit that she got really into Nancy's supplemental and that she pushed herself too hard. I was like, well, don't do that. But we want to keep you around. We want to keep you engaged. Other people just are shy. They just really don't like, Sandy's situation. I don't think she's shy. She's just disabled. And so I don't want her to ever feel like she doesn't have worth or value because she does. Other people don't mind getting out, but they can't leave town for whatever reasons. Maybe they're taking care of someone that's not completely disabled, but they need to stay close by. So, maybe they could help out either in some of these computer-based things or by being an assistant. Should I get on the road and go in their area? You know, um, or maybe they would want to be an assigned volunteer genealogist to help another chapter out. The way I see this is like Clay lives here in Aiken, and she's going to be helping a chapter in Greenwood. That's an hour and a half away. What's kind of nice about that is that, you know, I know Clay too. She'll go anywhere she wants. You know, I've seen her go to cemeteries that are 2 hours away just because she knew that there was something there. But like the girls that are in Charleston, it's Mount Pleasant in Charleston, and they just happen to live in the same neighborhood, even though they're in different chapters. Works out really good for them because they can get together at the library or whatever. So that's the other thing is we can't have too many people that are volunteering to be assigned volunteer genealogists because we don't know geographically where the needs are going to come from. They also can do a lot of the work remotely, like Sandy just worked on, yeah, like Sandy just worked on Nancy's without having to go anywhere or do anything, outside of her home. So I'm not going to kneel on you guys right now, but I would appreciate it if you think about it and let me know where you think you want to plug in. We've been doing these discussions and group meetings for, I think we started in September, and we'll continue to do them. But what I'm excited about is that by us reaching outside of our committee, we will help our state more, and we'll all come back with more questions, more topics, more findings, So, there. I was so excited to share all that with you. Does anybody have questions or thoughts on any of this?
Where's the Captain William Hilton chapter located?
Hilton Head.
Oh, okay, that's close to me.
Okay,
So I can help you.
that would be great.
So
Because
what is the date? That's like an hour away.
I'm shooting for October 4th, but the planning's kind of disjointed right now, for lack of better words. So
Yeah.
I know that we're going to be meeting in the computer center there. Are you familiar with that at all, Lorraine?
No, but I do know some people who belong to that chapter.
That's great.
Yeah. So you and I can talk about that.
It'll be the event will right now it looks like it'll be at this town actually has their own computer center. It's crazy. It's like a library just based on computers. And so they've got banks of computers for people to use. They also have a small lecture hall, and then they've got tables where people can bring their laptops and plug in.
Wow.
So
I didn't know they had that out there.
I'd never heard of something like this, but that's going to be a great venue we're looking at doing starting at 10 a.m. and getting over at 3 and taking an hour out for lunch. So, workshop and then also some, that's everybody that would like to come. I'm sure we'll be able to use the help.
Yeah. Who is your contact person or person?
Laura Scrandit. She's the regent of the Captain William Hilton chapter.
All right.
So I'm still trying, we're bouncing emails back and forth about every third day.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm really excited about the Martin Greg Gordon event because it's going to be very different in that it's going to be more of not so much a working event as a cheerleading event, if you will. Talking about how great the DAR is. It'll be more for the public than it will be for the members. And the one in Hilton Head will be more for the members than it will be for the public, even though the public will be invited. Does that make sense? Because we're going to be focusing on supplemental applications for the Captain William Hilton. And when we get to King Street, once that gets together, or the Margaret Gray Gordon chapter, it's to initiate more interest from the community to join the DAR and the SAO. So different focuses.
Susan,
yeah,
we have a family cemetery in the same county.
Okay.
We have several.
Good for you. I don't.
But so I'm familiar, and I know Elizabeth. So I'm familiar with the people in King Street. My my Patriot is from Pageland, but my grandfather lived in King Street. So
Okay.
I'll be more than happy to come down. I know a lot of people, it's not that far. It's an hour and something through, as I call it, through the woods, an hour and 15 minutes or something. But I'll help you with that. And like I said, I do know people. And the only other thing we could possibly reach out to too is maybe some of the, I think the SARs, a lot of them are struggling because I'm hearing that from a couple of them. The
Right.
group in Horry County and some of the ones in Georgetown are all struggling a lot worse than we are, but I don't know why.
I don't know why either with the, well, I don't know.
I really don't know. So I'm not quite sure of, and I'm going to meet with some of them. Uh, let's see, July 13th, because I'm helping get them a wreath for some of the things they want to come up and start doing with some of the 250 stuff. So,
Okay. Thank
um,
you for saying that. That's a great segue because I was just going to say with the 250 coming, I truly believe that we're going to, I call it a tsunami of interest, but we have to be out there and let people know that we're interested in them.
right.
You know, they're going to, all of this stuff is going to be going on about 250. Those of us in this room right now may not be that involved with the 250, or we might be, Libby.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, see, and I can tell you right now that, because this area, our part of South Carolina, between Williamsburg County, Georgetown, and Horry County, which were under the same map a long time ago, they're all fighting over Francis. So they're all having their Francis Marion, where I live, which part of whatever, and you know what I'm saying.
I do,
So, and
but still, oh,
in October, that like 17th and 18th is their symposium in Manning, South Carolina.
wow.
So that will be right around, if she's doing that, it definitely won't be that whatever 17th and 18th, because I've
Right.
already paid to go to that.
Love it. So maybe after that.
Yeah, so I'm just saying to you, that would be probably, and they have it, their symposium at the college there in Manning, one of the tech schools. They
A
have it there.
symposium. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and of course, this will be, 249 and next year will be 250. So,
Right.
it will be, pretty hopping. But like I said, I saw Elizabeth in April, but I didn't go to the May meeting. She and I are associate members of another chapter. So I see her at this other meeting.
Elizabeth who?
You said Chandler.
Margaret is
I'm
the,
sorry, Margaret. I think it's Margaret Elizabeth or whatever. Yeah.
that's fine. I was just trying to figure out, like,
Yeah.
supposed to know who you're talking about, and I couldn't figure
Yeah.
it out. Okay, so good. She's around
Yeah.
because I've left her a message lately and I hadn't heard back from her for a while, so I was wondering if she was out of town or just what. That's fine.
I wasn't at the other meeting that some of them go to, so I missed it. I was at the April one, but I couldn't go to the May one. And they do not, oh, the other thing, some of those chapters in those small areas do not meet like June, July, and August.
A lot of them don't. Trenton chapter doesn't.
Yeah, so we only don't meet June and July, but others don't meet June, July, and August. So it just
Well,
depends.
and I was saying when we first started this session, I was sharing about how I was, a mom with
Mm,
children that left me every summer. And so when my genealogy society, because that was before the DAR, but when my genealogical society would shut down for the summer, I'm like, this is terrible. I've now got more time on my hands
mhm,
than usual, and all my friends don't want to play.
yeah. And some areas, like I said, it's taken some of them a long time, even when you have such a battleground area for the American Revolution. It's still, some areas are really struggling, they said.
Well, here's the thing, Libby. Even if we, like I said, the ones here in this room or the ones not with us that are in this committee are not personally involved with any activities, which I don't understand how, but let's just say we're not,
Mhm,
of the America 250, people are going to hear about it,
mhm,
and then if we can be there to say, oh, well,
yeah,
yes, let me tell you about my patriot. That's the other thing I'm going to start publicizing or putting out on Facebook, especially during the summer, because not everybody travels all 3 months, is that perfect time to stay inside where it's cool and do supplementals. And that way you have something to talk about with all of your friends that are for the very first time hearing about the Revolutionary War.
Well, and my grandfather lived there, and my grandmother is like major generations
Wow,
before like the 1700s, 1600s.
that's cool.
So her side of the family's been there a while. So that's possibly something I can tell about my patriot because his ship was disabled by pirates.
And be prepared to do that because people love to hear stories like that.
Yes.
And then they get interested. I wonder what kind of stories I
Yes.
have.
And I have family books, so I can bring the books on my family history, that are written, that are published. So I had three or four. So, textbook kind of books. So that would be kind of cool. And some of the people probably know my grandfather or know different people from there.
From what Barbara's told me, everybody knows everybody.
They do. They know everybody's business too.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yes, ma'am, they do. So, but that would be good. I can, because I did do my Patriot. So, and I'd have there and I could bring some of some of my books that I have for the family and they can look up how they are registered and what happened and the stories about them. So,
great. I've been making some notes, Libby, and I
okay.
appreciate you sharing that because when I do finally get a chance to talk to Margaret Chandler, I'll be able to say, hey, we got some stuff going on.
Mhm,
I got
mhm,
men in costume and women with books. What do you want?
mhm, mhm. Yeah, that'd be really neat. And I'm starting on the other side of the family that have been there and are part of the British soldier's daughter, a surgeon, married a French Huguenot.
Oh, wow.
So, and he was at the church in Charleston. So I
That's
have just started playing with that and haven't gotten that far on it. But I met someone at a museum and I was saying something. I said, well, I really want to work on this side of the family. My great grandmother is or times five is a Chastain. He turned around and his head popped up and he said, what is her name? So I told him, and he said, was she married to whatever? I said, yes. So we're related
You know
distantly.
what? And that's perfect for a segue to get them to say, well, have you ever thought about submitting an application to the Sons of the American Revolution? I'm not saying we always need to be salesmen, but
Yeah.
on the other hand, it's a really, really fun situation we're in. Let me tell you a little story. This last week, I spent a couple of days at the lake with a friend of mine, and she's a DAR member, very active. And we got to talking to the lady that runs the retreat or the resort that we were staying at. And this woman, my goodness, she puts, I think, all of us to shame with the amount of service hours she puts in, but she's not a DAR member. And
Wow.
so my friend and I were telling her, if you were with the DAR, all those hours would count for something. And she said, oh, it's just not possible for me. My grandfather on my mother's side was on the orphan trains. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I've not
Mhm.
looked at that before.
Hmm.
And she said, and on my dad's side, he's the second generation immigrant. Well, that afternoon, I had her a Patriot.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
What's the one little giggle that she didn't say anything about? Her grandfather married somebody.
So once you found the stuff, it started rolling. Oh, how cool.
So that's what I'm saying is just being able, okay, I'm not saying I'm all that great, you guys. Now,
Oh, I'm not.
it wasn't proven, but now my best SAR buddy is, he actually is helping me teach a Sunday school class. And he's not even a member of our church yet. He's thinking about it at this point. But I'll try to make a long story short, but um, the kids that I've got in this junior church that I teach are all either school churched or home schooled. They're either in a parochial school or they're homeschooled. So telling them about Samson and Delilah and David and Goliath, they're yawning. I mean, they just could tell me the story probably in a more interesting form. And so one kid turned to me and he goes, he's just a cutie, but he's a know-it-all. He's 7 years old. And he goes, I know how to say the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. And I'm like, oh, to the United States of America? He goes, yes. And he goes, but I don't know how to say the preamble. I was like, to the Constitution of the United States? He goes, yeah. I'm like, oh. here I'd have a hard time connecting with these kids. And so I ran to the Sunday school superintendent and I'm like, I've got a connection, but I don't know where you want to go with it. And she turned to me and she's like, so you, of all people, want to do a segment on God Bless America? I'm like, sure. And so I was trying to figure out how to teach these kiddos the preamble of the Constitution. And I was looking it up online, and there was usually men in uniform talking to younger kids. And I'm like, I know a man in a uniform. So I called up my SAR buddy, and he showed up in his Revolutionary War regalia, and he's been helping me teach that class ever since. So throughout this time that we've interacted, he's like, I'd really like for you to get my girlfriend in, but she's just kind of reluctant. And I'm like, okay, well, anytime you want some help. So we went to a function together, and then a group of us, all went to lunch. And I talked to her for a little bit. And by the time we left the restaurant, I had her Patriot. I printed it out and I took it to her the next day, and she started crying. She wanted it so bad she had never told her boyfriend, my SAR buddy. And so that's what I'm saying. You just never know. You just, again, we don't have to be the salesman, but I get excited to play with dead people and see if we can find that patriot. And here I am on Amazon on my cell phone. Oh, not Amazon. Oh my goodness, Ancestry on my cell phone. It's like, here we go. We're right now on that particular application. I'm at the Child of the Patriot, and you know how that's the most difficult part, but we're there. So again, I'm not that good. I'm just saying that if that's your focus, at least you get a roadmap and you know where you're going. The road might end up with a block, and that's okay. But if we're always thinking about how we can help other people, and so, speaking of which, Cindy did come to me and she's like, I want to do a supplemental. I think I know where I'm going. I just need somebody to take me down the path. That's all she's asking for. And if we can find someone to help her to where she understands that process, then she could help other people. We're breaking it out. You know, um, we'll never run out of dead people, and I'm really glad.
Oh, I have one more good fun thing, Susan. There is a house in King Street called the Fleming Jenkins House, and
Okay.
it's been moved. It's been there since the 1700s. And Vicky Bush Breedemeyer, her patriot is a Fleming from King Street, even though she's from Texas.
Don't.
So
Yeah.
that would be another segue because they talk about whatever she found when they were living literally like in the side of the earth, like
Wow.
not exactly a real house, more like a mud hut.
Interesting.
So, but she had said we were at another thing, Vicky and I were, and then one thing like, and she says, "Well, I'm related to the Flemings." I said, "You mean the Flemings from King Street?" Small world. Someone else pops up, but yes, she's
Right.
related to them.
It really is.
Yeah.
So, Darlene, Lorraine,
Yes.
Jennifer, Cindy, and Clay, you guys have been quiet. Libby and I've been chit-chatting.
Sorry, you guys.
No, it's fun.
What do you want, Lorraine?
What do I want?
Well,
Um,
I'm not saying which job you want, but what is your,
oh, well, I'm worried about, I'm not the registrar. Susan Dobbs is the registrar.
right.
In my title, quote unquote, is lineage chair. But what is this whole new application process starting at the end of July?
What do you mean? What new application
New
process?
software.
Everything has to be electronic?
That is not official.
Oh, we're worried about it.
I am too. They are working on getting the eApps easier to use. There were so many glitches in it. What happened in July is that they stopped taking eApps.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay. The reason is that they are completely redoing the eApp system. So you can't do electronic apps right now, Lorene.
Well, My regent said that starting the end of July, everything has to be eApps.
I've not heard that.
Okay,
I
I
have
haven't heard
heard,
that.
what?
I have not heard that.
Oh, I will tell her that.
Yeah.
Then that would be a relief.
when I was at the GRI, I spoke to the national chair of the Volunteer Genealogists Committee in a very casual situation for about an hour and a half. And I asked her, yeah, it was really a trip. And I asked her, what do you foresee coming up with the new administration? And she goes, well, it's really not fair for me to say, you know. And she goes, but if this eApp rollout is as successful as they're all hoping, we may be restricted to doing supplementals by eApp only. That doesn't mean, Lorene, that all of them are going to be eApp. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, that's a relief.
I mean, from what this lady was telling me, it's a big push, but as radical as it is, supplementals may be forced to go eApp.
yeah.
That's very different than all applications.
Right.
Probably,
Right.
unless it's a new ancestor. Anytime you have
I
difficulty,
Oh,
you're
think
gonna
you're
have
right,
to move
Jennifer.
paper, probably.
I
Oh.
think you're very right. But right now, we have not heard any direction because, you know, what at the end of this month is when they're going to be doing the voting, and then it's going to take the new national officers and then the chairs that are associated with them a while to get rolling. So at this time is not when they're going to be making any major changes, Lorraine.
okay.
So like when we had the new application rolled out, we heard about it for a short period of time, which was like 1 month before the new one came out. Kind of rocked our world. But that's what I'm saying. Oh, that was a short time to have a 1 month notice. So,
Yeah.
and there was talk about a new application coming before it happened. And so there's talk about the eApp system getting a makeover, and it definitely is. That's for
So
sure.
Susan,
Yeah.
what is the difference between the e-app and the paper app?
Well, it's done electronically.
But it's no different than filling it out. It's just that you get to send it electronically rather than in the mail.
It's got some
Right.
glitches, Clay. I mean, and I hope that that will be fixed with the new system rollout, meaning I can see why it's considered beneficial because it is all electronic and that it is all typed up and it is all sent where it's supposed to go. But right now it goes through mid-level reviewers who before it goes on to national. So the
Okay.
idea of having two reviewers as part of this eApp system, it's already been there. I don't like it because Clay, well, I don't know that you know Clay.
Technically the same thing though.
Well, I have a question, Susan. Is
Wait a
it,
minute. Let me finish with Clay first, Libby.
okay,
Um, I appreciate what you're asking or saying because Clay, I know you and I do things electronically quite a bit. You know, we keep our files electronically and all that. Um, I hope that I like the new system much better because the ones that I have seen that have been done are the ugliest applications I've ever seen. You can barely read them when you look at them on image access. It's terrible. They look like something out of a dot matrix machine, you know. Just really junky. So again, the new rollout may help that. But Clay, in the full process of what we do, it really wouldn't matter if it is a paper copy or if it is electronic, because what our focus is on is the lineage and the lineage links. So no, our thought process, our research, all of that will be the same. It's just how we go about the process of submitting them. Now, Libby brought up some things earlier in this conversation about the technology challenge that we already have. So that, Clay, did that answer your
I think
question?
the uploading is easier personally.
Have you used them, Jennifer?
I have. I'm done 3 eApps.
Really?
So I'm on my 4th,
That's
if the personal.
that's
So
3 more than I've done, so it's terrible.
the only thing is that you're really getting a 3rd review because you have the registrar reviewing, a officer reviewing, then it goes to mid-level, and then it goes to national.
Oh wow.
Um, two of mine went really fast. The last one I've completed, I waited over 2 months, and I emailed them, and then they got it through the system. But that was the last one that was approved, and it was approved without any errors or any problems. It was just like it was just sitting on hold,
You
and I
know,
think that's the issue.
in the doc, I've heard of a lot of that where it's like it
Yeah.
gets stuck. But again, with the rollout, maybe that will make it better. I'll tell you what, I'm not going to be, and maybe Jennifer, you are, and I would like to hear your opinion. I'm not going to be standing in line to be the first one to use the new app system.
Well, since yes and no, if it's an easy app, but
Um,
I've done computer stuff for 30 years. That's my background, education and computing.
okay.
So I'm not against trying something. Um, but I don't mind. I usually do a paper version, but having all the resources and your proof electronically, I already have it on my computer. So for me, just to upload that is so easy and not have to print it out and keeping up with those papers.
Clay, what do you
I'm
think of
sure you're
that?
doing the same thing. You have a folder and you're keeping those
Hmm.
documents together. So just uploading them straight up, that's sort of easy.
So when you do that, you're putting in like a computer address rather than the,
Um, if you go to the eApp at the time, you can't look at it now. When you logged into e-membership on the right-hand side, it had the link to go into eApp, and that's where you sent the invites and you could upload the information. Right now, it's gone,
So
so
Jennifer,
you
do you
can't look
upload
at
the
it.
information like JPEGs or PDFs, or do they
Yes,
have both?
it had to be JPEGs.
Okay. And so you do all the red underlining electronically
Yes,
before you upload it.
right. So it's exactly the same as
Yeah.
doing a hard copy, except you're doing it electronically. You're uploading it. It's just like attaching, other than you're doing it on a web link. You're in a application that you're doing these uploads to.
You know, it may not be
So
that bad. Jennifer, thank you. Yeah.
so
Susan, as you know, when I send stuff to review, I put everything in a PDF document.
Mm.
So it's already in electronic form. And but I keep both documents. I keep the PDF and the Word document. So
Yeah.
it doesn't really sound like it's that much
No,
different than what at least I'm doing already, because that's what I do.
I don't like change.
um I hope the new version will accept PDF along with JPEGs,
Okay.
because I think the resolution and the dot matrix look that you're talking about is because they're requiring you to convert it to a JPEG, and you're losing, or a PNG. You're losing resolution.
Yeah.
And I think if we can upload PDFs, and maybe that's one of the upgrades. I don't know what kind of upgrades they're looking at.
And honestly, Jennifer, I've not done a lot. I did not like the e-apps at all. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with it because everything I saw of it, I was running from it, but we're not going to be able to, I understand.
Right.
And, being able to, like I said, thank you for sharing your experience because I am a lot more encouraged now. I'm going to have to do one, Jennifer.
It's not as bad as it was cumbersome at first, but once you've done, you know, I would say now that I've done 3, I feel confident. Of course, now we've changed.
Right.
So this, we'll
Always,
see what it looks like.
yeah. I have a question for you, Jennifer. Do you have like the paid version of the Adobe PDF?
I do not.
Oh,
Um,
I
I
thought you
used usually uh I download stuff, but I can make anything. There's
PDF.
a PDF by using a Microsoft PDF printer that I've created it's a virtual printer basically. It will print out anything, any Word document. I'll create it in Word, and then I print it to my Microsoft PDF printer. And if it's original sources, I'll scan it in as high resolution as I can. PDF is much better, but sometimes like this required me to do PNG or JPEGs.
Another comment on that. When I do my document in Microsoft Word, I can go in there and save as a PDF.
I can too, but sometimes it is squirrely and it moves stuff on top of stuff for some reason.
Yeah.
It's just I have just found that printer just works without me having to go back and look at it. And I also have the Adobe printer in my as a choice, but I always seem to go to the Microsoft. I think it's because I've had less difficulty with it. But it's nice to have all those tools.
I've been having trouble lately with Adobe not being able to save a PDF, anything in PDF. Like I was trying to do an analysis recently. I went to the DAR and downloaded the PDF for an analysis. And I put all the stuff in there. And as soon as I saved it, it all disappeared. I don't know what happened. I just happened to have an old analysis document that I didn't use for anybody. And so I erased all that information and put in the information I wanted it. And that works, but it's an old analysis.
You may need to update your Adobe or because the version they may be using with the new analysis form may be different. And if they don't, Adobe's really bad about it. If it doesn't GHAL, it will all of a sudden not work, and you're 3/4 of the way or 100% of the way finished with something, and you
Well,
lose it.
yeah,
So,
of course, money is a problem to everybody, especially at this stage of life. And to have
right.
to pay Adobe $25 a month,
It's too much.
I'm not doing it. That's why
yeah, I don't think that's where I want to do it. I don't do enough of it. I mean, if I was working in an office somewhere where I had to use a lot of Adobe, that would be worthwhile. But for one or two applications every now and then, no, I don't want to pay $125 a month for that.
right. And that's why I've gotten away from Adobe unless, I have to.
But the
I do
DA,
make sure that the free version I have is updated. I'll go in and update it.
how do you update it?
Your reader.
The Adobe Reader?
Yes, ma'am. I do that. Because that makes a difference.
All right, I need, maybe at the end of it, you can tell me how to get to it at the end of
Okay.
our meeting.
All right.
Okay, because I've not seen that.
Would it be on the DAR website, Jennifer?
The Adobe Reader update would be on Adobe, or you go into your Adobe Reader, and usually you go to the About. I'm looking at it because I don't remember it by heart.
Jennifer, are you on your phone or on a laptop?
I'm on a laptop.
Because I can give you access to share, I think, if you want to do that. Show us all.
I'm just looking really. Um,
I think actually you can if you want.
hold on, let me find something that's not per. Here we go. I'll just okay.
So at the bottom of your screen, there's a little green arrow that says share if you want to. You don't have to, but I was just thinking if you're going to be.
Hold on 1 second. I got to
No,
find the green arrow. There we go. Sorry.
no, nothing like being
Oh,
called on the spot. Go for it.
it's okay. Let's see if I can get it to. show what I want it to show. That's the fun part.
Look at you go.
I haven't done Zoom in a long time. So let's see. It doesn't like me sharing. See if it'll try. I'm trying again because it's just putting it. It's not going to. We stop that one and I'll try again. Here we go. Let's see. What it is I'm not used to using Edge, and I think that's what it's coming up in. So let me just get this window and get this open all the way too. There we go. Now maybe you can see what I'm doing. There we go, and share. So if you well, usually when I'm in this, I can go to my tools. I go up to menu. It will tell me if it needs to be updated or not. Trying to look for where it is. I can't tell what y'all can see. So,
You see your arrow.
you can see my arrow.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
No,
it's
that's
fine.
Oh, we know what you're looking at.
So, I just pulled up a document just to have something on the page.
We
But
don't mind that
usually,
document.
huh?
We don't mind looking at that document.
Oh yeah. That's the project I'm working on. So, but anyway, you should be able to, and I don't see it right now. Sometimes you go to the magnifying. I'll tell you what I will do is I will find it and I will send you directions how to that. Because
If you want to just send it to me, I can send it to everybody that's in the
okay,
room.
I can do that. I just right now it doesn't I'm not subscribed. I can tell you that. I don't do that, but I'm trying to find where it lets me update. That it tells me I need to update.
Well, I think I did have that recently, and I think I went through that, but I'm still having trouble with, you know,
Sometimes
saving a document.
right. Usually it's either the Windows in your computer needs to be updated or have the, you know, updates run, or your Adobe does. And if you keep those two things up to date, you don't have difficulty. But if you let one get out of date, it happens. And you just have to go to the apps.
The only thing I know about updating is when it comes, I'll come in the next morning and everything's been closed up because it's had an update.
Yeah.
Updates are coming automatically.
Those are usually the operating system, though, instead of any of the
Right.
applications.
But sometimes the Adobe app will get stuck in an update that's being run and it needs to glitch. One of the things, if you haven't at least once a week, if you haven't shut your computer down and let it reboot, it's like not cleaning out your filing, your files and getting them straight. A computer needs to be shut down regularly. If you haven't been doing
What?
that, a lot of times that's the issue. It
I have
really
that
is.
struggle.
It's
Yeah.
just like a phone. A phone does the same thing. It needs to
Oh,
reconfigure and put everything back together.
get the
So,
trash out.
I don't know. But anyway, I just know that in the past, if I go and reboot somebody's computer, I can get it working without a problem. And they have been struggling for days. So they don't believe you till you do it right there in front of them, and they go, "It worked." So
Well, Darlene, you've been kind of quiet. I'm just going to throw this question out there. Out of this committee, what what would you like to see this committee do? I'm not asking you to sign up for anything. Just where do you see this committee going?
I'm enjoying traveling I guess the road of connecting generations and what's needed specifically and why some information is questionable and what to do when you have somebody like the families we're working on, where you've got it looks like in a census records, almost a soup of family members that it's hard to figure out exactly who's who. So just kind of how to pull out that information and to verify it or discount it. That's kind of an interest I have currently based on the current challenges we're having with the family we're working on. As for the District 1 meeting, it happens to be the same day as our monthly chapter meeting. So I'm not sure, to what degree I can be helpful at that point.
I understand. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
thank you for that, though. Because I mean, where am I going? Easily. I think going to easily. Where is that compared to where
Oh, that's
Near Greenville.
essentially where you were.
I'm
That's where you were and did the workshop for our district.
okay, I guess I'm coming up
For
again.
another type of workshop or
Yes. I
okay.
know. I was kind of surprised too. I'm like, that's the place I was at, most recently, but they were putting together their programs for the year and they wanted me to come up and do a workshop. So
This is a district meeting or
I think it's the, what is the chapter up there? Not, is it Hudson Berry that's up there?
yeah, I think it is.
Um, yeah, for their chapter, and then they decided that they would just open it up for everybody, all chapters. The lady I'm talking to, I think, is their membership chair, and she's expecting at least 50 people. And I'm like, I love dealing with optimistic people, but
No, I'm just
okay.
at this point kind of taken aback because yes, you just did a workshop
Yeah,
on that. You wanted to do supplementals and then interest for other people.
that's actually the Hilton Head
Oh,
that
okay.
wants that. But no, I have to go back and look at my notes specifically on that. I know it's going to be a
Okay.
workshop, but I don't think it's going to be the same exact. I
Not the
don't know. I've
same
got to
group,
look at it,
but
Darlene, because
they
I
vary.
might be able to use what I brought up there to your district. It is your district. But you know what? I will go. I love this and I want to build this
Yeah.
committee, and there's a need for it that if I'm asked to go anywhere, I'll go
Uh-huh.
within reason. I mean,
And I'm just curious about, yeah. Okay.
I'm taking 3 weeks off in July and August to go see my babies and grandbabies in Washington State and drive across the country.
Oh,
So, yeah,
Wow.
that'll be fun.
it is because we've got Wi-Fi in my husband's truck, and he likes to drive, and I don't drive that beast. So I get to sit there with my laptop on my lap for hours,
Um,
and he feels like I'm with him. We're both happy. So that's my kind of vacation. Yeah. All right. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to talk about today? I mean, I kind of gave you my vision for where I see this committee going and some needs that we currently have within this committee. Jennifer, I thank you so much for sharing what your experiences were with eApp. And Libby, I thank you so much for sharing your experiences in the Kingstree area and what we could possibly use out of that. So thank you for bringing those.
you had something else to say though before, didn't you?
Yeah, the
Oh,
only thing I was thinking about is, do you think they were pushing the supplements electronically because that would be easier to do than the initial application?
first,
And would it be a better storage area if they're
personally, what
trying to promote more supplements?
I personally believe. Okay, so when a supplemental package comes in on this envelope into data entry, they have to separate it.
Mhm.
Check goes over here. They have to go through the front page, which doesn't need verified, but make sure that everything's filled out. So right there, that first thing that they do with can't believe I'm supporting eApps, but with the first thing that they do, it's already been taken care of by the time it hits national because the money is electronic. They can stop it from going
Mhm.
any further electronically. And it's gone through the different reviews that Jennifer shared before it ever gets to national. Okay, so that's the first step. Now they've got these papers. They've got to go scan them. And when you
But they
get
don't if it's eApp.
Right. It's already been done.
They
for
don't
them.
scan them.
Right.
It's already done.
So, I mean, the big push that National is going through right now is how do we do our job faster? How do we get it done? So that's why they've been hell on wheels about citation writing. I mean, that's part of that.
Mhm.
It's like you talk about a tsunami. I mean, honestly, National has gone through a lot as far as their piles of supplementals and applications, especially supplementals. We went through COVID, and a lot of us sat at home and worked on supplementals. And then just as we're starting to really get out of COVID past its official date, they say they're going to double the cost of the application processing fee. So all of these people that had been doing work who had not submitted their supplementals got them in the mail. So I mean, they got hit and then they got hit again. And
Mhm.
since I've been a member, which has been about 13 years now, it has taken 2 years to get a supplemental application approved. That's what it's been.
Mhm.
So they're looking for ways to streamline their work because of the amount of work that they've been hit with. And people are complaining. And I'm not saying that we don't have reason to be, but I think that
And
that's
you
a
can
large part.
readjust what the person's job is. They're no longer having to scan in documents. They're reviewing,
Right.
They're already
because
done.
Also,
that part of it is done.
when
So
I went
what
to
do
the
you think
GRI,
from doing it paper-wise, since she's done three, and by the time you got to the third, what do you think for you in time savings? Because if they're thinking we're working smarter, not harder, what do you think? Because you've done three by the time you know,
Well, it's
done-
saving me time, ink, paper. I can do all that on my computer. Um, because I
and no
already
mail.
have it, and no mail, and I don't have to mail. I don't have to worry about it getting there because basically I can watch it flow through the app
and you don't
and
have
know
to run
where
to
it
the
is.
post office. I
Don't
mean,
have to go to the post office. Don't have to spend the money for priority mail because
right.
we freak out if it's not there, if it's lost.
The other thing I
Um,
thought was interesting at the GRI, listening to some of the speakers there, is that a lot of them were verifying genealogists, or national genies. But they would
right.
sit in their office in Colorado or in New Hampshire. And so, yeah, that's why everything has to be scanned, is so that it can be sent out for verification, which is just, and, then they have to go through and they'll still have to go through and get rid of certain documents, I guess, Jennifer, I mean,
Yeah.
The kind of Jennifer, basically, it gets dumped into a box, everything you need, like within the category lineup, page one, page two, like you're going through filling out a software survey. And as they go through it, that's the way you're lining it up the similar way.
Right.
Correct?
And I label everything like G1 and then you know, it's the birth certificate and then the person's name is the way I've named all my documents so that when it goes up, it ties to what I have cited in my
Okay.
line. So I'm trying to make it as easy as possible by doing it that way. So
And how much more time did you think it took you in comparison by the time you got to number three after you worked out a little bit of the kinks? What do you think?
it was less time.
Okay. So we're going to be working smarter, not harder
Right.
eventually.
you've converted me.
Well, you gotta think about it. When you're working with somebody to do their stuff and you're getting their papers, I always scan them in to make sure something doesn't happen. And I'm making that folder. I'm already scanning them in. Then I can go in and do my highlighting in red ink on the important stuff.
Well, a lot of them, I'll even get pictures from their cell phone of their birth certificate.
Oh yeah. And that's going to be probably sometimes it's really good and sometimes people are not so good.
Um,
You
yeah,
know, and that's going to be the issue is the quality of the scan or photograph, you know.
of what we're given.
Mm.
Yes. Like husbands' birth certificates, all they have is, I think, oh, this is terrible because it's just bad. But, you have to use what you can. That's not as important a document as your stuff. So anyway,
This is,
but I found it easier, but I will tell you, I'm a computer techie person.
oh, I want to know you more, more
Mhm.
about you. How do you underline in red when it's already scanned in on your
Well,
computer?
it's an image, therefore you can go into a photo editor, and I go to the pen, and I make it fine point, but I also make it a straight line, so that because sometimes my hand will shake, what I've been doing stuff for a long time, but it makes that straight line under the information I need.
And it can also be manipulated on the page.
It can be. It can be moved around.
And I just do it in Word document and
Yes.
insert line. Yeah.
Their editor, I just
Oh,
double click on my
oh,
image.
okay.
Yeah. And then I group everything so it doesn't get
Right.
around when you move something.
Mhm.
Yep,
That's what you need are flying red lines. I mean, I've seen that.
that's true.
Well, I do lots of stuff with images. Once I get the image itself, I can straighten it up. If it's hard to read, I adjust the light or dark, whatever it needs to make everything show up. It's not as good as being able to enlarge it on my screen and read it. But I understand that they have access to be able to pull those documents up on the screen and actually see them better than I can. And
So you're working in photo edit,
I'm just working in Word.
Word.
Yeah.
If you go into Word and you open up a picture and
Yeah,
you double click on the picture, you'll see a lot of editing tools that you can
yeah,
use.
okay, yeah, yeah,
And that's what I'm using. And
okay.
I don't know who was talking, sorry.
It's clay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
But
you can if the image is if the record is cattywampus in the picture, you can adjust it so that it is correct. You can
Yeah,
enclose change the things that you don't want to see, like all the black space in the back.
yeah, you can, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if it's a 2-page document and you only want to show the one page, you can just eliminate the page that you don't want to see. There's lots of great ways that to clean up our documents and save
Like,
money on ink.
yes.
Which doing an electronic one, it we don't have to do the ink, which is a nice thing. That saves money for us.
So you guys want to do a series of computer type classes?
I think, you know, I got a feeling we're going there. If she says, based on what she's done, that's in order to support someone, if they want it that way, you know.
I mean, I worked in the IT field for years. So, I mean, right here you got Jennifer and you got Clay that can teach us a lot of things. And I've got a couple of tricks up my sleeve too, as far as uh Jennifer, I don't know if these girls feel comfortable just clicking and dragging something to drop it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just
It,
little
Or
things like that.
losing it or
yeah,
whatever.
it's not really hard.
start easy and then get more complicated.
Right.
Yeah, but if you can just sit down and show somebody how to do it, and once they realize how easy it is,
Yeah.
because it really isn't hard.
I think we definitely in this state need it. I mean,
Yeah. I
I
will say
shouldn't
the
say in this
eApp,
state, in this, what was that, Jennifer?
in the old version of the eApp, you could go in and do your own. I did that first. I did my own and practiced and did the whole application. I did pulled in my resources and practiced.
Mm.
And I hope they'll have that again with the new version, because then you could do a workshop on everybody just doing their own. It could be
Right.
any images, anything, you could do and pull it in because you know your stuff and you see where it's placing it and what it's doing.
That's a good
And I
idea.
think that helps. So,
And another thing, I don't know if other people have noticed it, but when you're looking at an image, um, in Family Search or whatever, you can go in there and adjust the brightness and the background to make it where you can see it better. And so then if you adjust the image, because some of those images are like really dark
Yeah.
and you can't really read them, but if you go in and adjust it and then you do a screenshot, you've got a much better looking, and then you can even adjust it again once you get it in your computer.
The bad thing about screenshots is I don't think a lot of the ones I've seen anyway, I would prefer they go and crop it after they screenshot it because like,
Well,
you wanna-
that's what I'm doing. I crop out what I don't need.
Yeah, I
right.
finally figured out that's what you're supposed to do. I didn't realize that.
No, I'm just saying
Yeah.
I've seen that a lot of times as far as seeing the whole screen, and I'm like, I'd really rather just,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
the document that you're looking at. And a lot of times it's just as easy to download it than it is to do a screenshot of it.
It
Was
just
clearer sometimes if you can download it, and then
Right.
you can make those edits, crop it and the resolution stuff sometimes.
the advantage though of adjusting it before you do your screenshot is you get a clearer picture, and then you can adjust it some more once you download it.
Clay, I don't usually adjust them that much in Family Search. I think that's a fascinating thought, though. If you adjust it and then you go to download it, does it keep that adjustment or does it
I
download
don't think it does. I think you have to do a screenshot
to get that
to
adjustment?
keep that. Yes,
Mm.
but
Because I'm guilty because I've got, you know, Photoshop that I pay a monthly subscription fee for. I've got Adobe Acrobat that I pay a monthly subscription fee for. But my husband's business needs these things, so I
Oh,
get to use them. Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
And so I'm sitting here listening, going, I'm really spoiled.
Yeah.
But, you know, um, so with those, Clay, what I do is I just download them and then in Photoshop I'll lighten them and deal with the contrast and that sort of thing. But I
well,
just
it sounds like Photoshop is doing the same thing that our computers that we already own do the same thing.
but if the difference is that if I'm looking at a document in Family Search and I can, you know, deal with the image of what I'm looking at, a lot of times if I take a picture of the screen, a screenshot, I don't get to see the whole document. So if I download it and then go
You
through
can
and
adjust the size. You can flip it. It like if you want to flip it on from the short axis to the long axis, you can do that, and you also expand your screen.
that's pretty
Because
exciting.
everything in Family Search, you can expand the screen to almost the full size of your screen.
That's a good point. I've never tried it. It's challenging.
Yeah.
I think we got lots of things we can share as far as trips. Libby, you're muted, honey. I saw
I
your
know
lip.
I did it. I said tools for our toolbox. I think that's the thing that, those little
Oh,
quick
good.
notes that you sit there and struggle. And even like I have an iPad and it has to have 365 on it. You can't load something else. So when I'm doing something on that and transferring it to someone else, we get the spider activity. So 365 doesn't work as well with the other. When I'm in, say, Word, it fights a
Right.
little.
Well, the other place that this could possibly take us in the future, I don't really know where that is, but I can see it in this mindset, is AI. Now, I'm not talking about in the research end of it yet, but maybe even within the imaging of things, you know, if there's anybody that would want to look into that, I have nothing on that. I am excited about AI. I'm very skeptical, of course, and we should be. But when I see some of the really cute things that AI is generating, I am sorry, but a puppy pounded on a Congo while a little kitty's dancing excites me. And when I know that AI did that, I just go, you know what? It's not the evil monster everybody thinks that it is. We need to be aware of it. And I don't know where it, like I said, it could possibly take us when it comes to graphics of documents. Yeah.
Well, it's still in its infancy. Uh, like the experiments in um,
Family Search.
Family Search to be able to just get something that will find the names.
Oh,
That's
Mhm.
huge.
yo, we won't be complaining.
I've been sitting here going page by page through indexes looking for things. And then once I found out how to do the full text in Family Search, uh, the only problem is it does get a few little variations of spelling, but if you've got a document that has a real crazy one, other than I should be an E, etc., it may not find it. You might, once you've done through the full search, full text search, and you don't find what you want, and then you can go to the index and see if, it just got missed.
That's
If you don't find the document that you want, but I've just recently been finding documents that I have not found by doing a manual search of an index.
right. Um, that's one thing that Sandy Foster did share with me. Some of these documents that she found were just really very good documents, but the names were misspelled, so we can't get so bought on a name. So she actually would keep a list of every time she even thought of or saw another variant spelling. And she's dealt with the names. The Patriots that she came up with were Matthew Moore. Think about how many ways you could have that written. Now, Moore could be spelled in a variety of ways, and Matthew sometimes has a double T and sometimes doesn't. I mean, sometimes has a W at the end, sometimes doesn't. Um, that's the way she was able to dig so deep within Family Search until she went to the Maryland archives and started doing searches there, realizing, when you're starting to deal with those archaic documents, you can't be sold out to how the name is spelled.
Well, I think it's really good. The transcriptions are not so good. They're almost
Right.
impossible to uh,
Yeah.
repair them on your own, and it's just easier to go in and just type your own transcript.
Well, when you type your own transcript, you own the information by that time. You're not just kind of reading a bad
Right,
transcription of it. And
right.
so you see things that it'd be easier to not see, you know.
So
They
I'm really excited about finding that, and that's the one thing I like about genealogy is I get to learn how to do more different things.
I'll start working on that then, you guys. You know, computer technology type focus on these meetings. I would really love to hear from each of you as far as if there's a particular task you want within the committee. We've got jobs. If there's something that you want to talk about in these committees or a topic that you want to learn more about, let me know. I really kind of like where this whole meeting has gone. And Jennifer, if you hadn't said, "Oh yeah, I did a couple of those," I don't know that we got here.
She opened the can of worms for us.
She sure did. I mean, now
Thank
I'm
you,
selling it.
Jennifer.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm not far from you, Susan, so.
No, but Clay's right. Clay and I share a lot of, we do review one another's work a lot. And we're always sending it via email because we've already got it digitized,
Right.
Yeah.
as we work on it. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna have to close this down
Yeah.
unless you guys have anything else that you need to bring up. But I will be back Saturday morning at 9 o'clock.
All right. See you then.
All right.
I know.
Bye.
Bye.
You.
Bye.